answers like option A, B, C, and D. These 4 options are given here. Out of that, you have to choose, okay?
Sir, option 1, 2.
Option number 1 and 2, okay. What about you? Same or different answer?
Sir, same, sir.
Exactly. While we were learning about reproduction in plants, we have learned that there are 2 types of reproduction in plants. One was the asexual, another one was the sexual. In the asexual reproduction, vegetative parts, namely the roots, leaves, stems, would be taking part. In the sexual reproduction, the seeds and the flowers, they do participate in this. Very good. Option number A. Next.
Clear water is common. Sir, fragmentation.
Okay, what about you, Priyanka?
Sir, can you wait?
Okay, sure. Meanwhile, was you continue with the next question.
Sir, winged seeds.
Okay. Priyanka, you done with the first question?
The eye of the potato
Yes,
is
sir.
What the second one? What answer you're getting?
Sir,
It is in fact,
C.
yeah, it is in fact fragmentation. Okay, now the same answer as was gave. So we know that in the process of fragmentation, we particularly learned about Spirogyra, which was an example of a alga. No? Yeah, Spirogyra is one example of an alga which simply splits into 2 halves, and each of them grows independently. So each body fragment will develop into a new organism, and it's a type of reproduction where the new plant will be clone of the original plant. New organism will be clone of the original organism. Okay. Next, for the third one, you have answered for the option number A, you have answered, no?
Yes, sir.
Priyanka, you also answer this quickly.
Yes, sir.
That is correct, both of you. Okay, no? So we know that wings of the maple and the drumstick seeds, they'll be seeking the help of the air to fly. Like they will be flying in the air and they will be carried to long distances with the action of the wind.
Sir, fourth one, option C.
Option number C. Okay. Priyanka?
Yes, sir.
That is correct, both of you. Very good.
Sir, fifth one. Sir, 2 ovules.
Okay, you're saying 2 ovules.
Sir.
Okay. Priyanka, what about you? Actually, if you guys were to look back at this diagram here, I suppose I had that diagram. Or you guys just look at this 1 minute. Actually, there was an important diagram which I had to show you guys. You guys give me a minute. Actually, the right answer to this will be no. Priyanka, what do you
Sir,
think?
C.
Option number C. Yeah, in fact, it is correct, by the way. Very good. Okay, now let me just show an image of this. There can be multiple ovules in this. Was you getting it? There will be more than one. There can be one, or in fact, in some, there can be more than one ovules in the flowers.
Okay, sir.
Just take a look at the structure of this, and then you will get a clear picture of this. Yeah, this is what I'm actually talking about. See, in this flower, you will see there are multiple ovules. Multiple ovules are there. And in fact, this picture also will help you to understand where does the pollen grain goes. Once the pollen grain will be landing on the stigma, it makes a pollen tube now. And why the pollen
Yes.
tube? Also, what we know, what does the pollen grain contain? It contains the male gamete now. We have the male sex cell, we have the female sex cell, and the male gamete is basically the sperm. So sperm is actually going all the way inside the ovary. So it goes in the ovary, and in the ovary you have so many ovules are there. Like this is the ovule. Count the number of ovules in this one.
3. No, I mean
Three
6.
pairs or six ovules are there, right? And here it has fertilized with it. Okay, na? So here the fertilization took place. So there can be one or more than one ovule, one to many ovules. Continue to the next question.
Two plants are always essential. Fertilization only after pollination. The insects are agents of pollination. Uh,
Yes, Abu Bakr, how are you? You also answer the questions. Right now we are doing question number 6.
so pollination is like basically the pollen grains enter the ovary, right?
Yeah, pollination is simply the transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma. And from there, fertilization will take place when the pollen will be traveling to the ovary now. While the pollen grain will be traveling inside the ovary, there the fertilization will take place. Here you will
Yes, sir.
see that actually the nucleus of the sperm and this ovum is meeting together, and their fertilization is taking place. Okay, let's look at the first statement. What the first statement is saying. We have to tell which one of them are true here. Which of them are true for sexual reproduction in plants? Plants are obtained from the seeds. Is the statement true or false? Yes,
Sir,
Abu Bakr, Gauss, Priyanka. Yeah. Yes, we do obtain plants from the seeds now. Plants are obtained
yes,
from the seeds. Okay. Two plants are always essential for sexual for the reproduction.
sir, the first, second, and third are the
First,
state.
second,
First,
and third.
yes, sir.
No, actually, there are two statements in this data correct. Okay, na?
Yes, sir.
Two statements are correct in this. It is not necessary to have two plants for sexual reproduction to take place. You know
Sir, the
about the self
answer is A.
option number A. Yeah, indeed, that is correct. Let's look at the second option here. It is saying that two plants are always essential for sexual reproduction. You guys remember the case of the self pollination?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So is two plant required there?
No,
No,
sir.
only one plant is required there. No? Okay, so thereby option number 2 becomes false. Fertilization can occur only after pollination. Yes, indeed, it is true. Once the pollen grain has reached to the stigma, only after that fertilization will be possible. Only insects are agents of pollination. No, that is false. Apart from this, there are so many other agents of pollination. Can you guys tell me some of the agents of pollination?
Sir, wind,
Wind and water. Yeah, different
water.
kind of birds like hummingbird, bats. Okay, so right answer is option number A. Continue. Question number 7.
Pollination.
Sir, is it C?
Okay, what do you guys think? Abu Bakr, you also answer this.
Sir, I'll change the answer B.
Okay. Was what do you think? Actually, your previous answer was correct. Actually, Priyanka. and others also pay attention here. Pollination, as per the definition, what we have learned, it's a transfer of pollen from anther to the stigma. No? Transfer of
Yes,
pollen
sir.
from anther to the stigma. Now, saying that transfer of male gamete from anther to stigma, that will be not very accurate to say that, because actually the wind or the insect or the whatever kind of pollinating agents are there, they'll be helping in transferring the pollen grain from the anther of the flower. As we can see here, this anther of the flower. 1 minute. It will be helping in transferring the anther pollen grain from the anther to the stigma. So it is actually helping just in the transfer of pollen grain. Now, within the pollen grain, the male gamete is found. That's a different thing. That's a different statement. Inside this, the male gamete, that is the sperm, is found. But in pollination, basically, it's not like specifically the male gamete is being transferred. Male gamete is found inside the pollen grain, and pollen grain is being transferred from anther to stigma. So option number C is the right answer. Question number 8. This is a very short answer type question. So fungus, moss, and fern, they reproduce by a common method of asexual reproduction. What is that method? In fact, I showed the images of that to you guys as well.
So it was something related to spores or something.
Okay. You're close to your answer, by the way. Yes, others also answer this, Priyanka and Abu Bakr.
Uh,
Okay, you guys need to see this image once again. Take a look at this image. Look at the spores on this, spore on the moss, spore on the fern. Yeah, these kind of plants were reproducing by the spore formation. And spore formation is a sexual or asexual mode of reproduction.
Asexual.
Asexual mode of reproduction. Good. So the method is asexual. Method is spore formation. Next question. And mention the reason for picking the odd one out of these also. If someone is answering in the chat box, no, you guys are required to answer in the class only. If someone is going to answer today, I won't be able to access it from the chat box. Yes, Abu Bakr, what's the answer for question number 9?
Sir, is it rose?
Okay, let me read the options. It's sugarcane, potato, rice, and rose. Sugarcane, potato, rice, and rose.
Sir, uh, like, do we have to mention the method of the asexual reproduction they like do?
You can do so also, but basically you have to pick the odd one. Yes?
Sir, I also think it's rose.
No. How is it rose? You guys didn't look at the rice here. See, sugarcane. When we talk about sugarcane, potato, and the rose. Rose can be grown, like it will participate in vegetative propagation. No?
Sir, rice.
Exactly, that is rice here. So rose, it can be simply you can cut the stem. By cutting the stem, a new rose plant can be grown. Potato, that is also modified stem now. It also does reproduction via the vegetative propagation. Sugarcane, that also does the same now. That is also a stem. You can simply cut the sugarcane stem. If nodes are present, a new sugarcane can be grown from it. Potato, that is also modified stem from which a new potato can be grown. But rice can only be grown from the seed now. It does not does asexual reproduction. Getting all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that is the right answer to this. Okay. Rice is basically the um, not doing asexual reproduction. So Bujo had the following parts of a rose plant. It is mentioned that a leaf, root, a branch, a flower, a bud, and a pollen grain. Which of them can be used to grow a new rose plant? Isn't it obvious? Yes, to grow a new rose plant, will you be using its leaf, root, its branch? Branch basically you can refer it to as the stem, a flower, or a bud, or the pollen grain.
So you can use the stem. You can do the cutting method.
Mm, exactly, no?
Yes,
Right.
sir.
So the new rose plant can be vegetatively propagated by the means of the stem, cutting. And in the previous question also, the following options which you had: sugar cane, potato, and they can be vegetatively grown by the means of their stem, while rice was the odd one as it reproduces by means of seed. And sugarcane, potato, and rose, they can reproduce vegetatively by the means of their stems. Okay, question number 11. So which type of pollination does the given figure indicate here?
So self-pollination.
Okay, everyone answer this. Abubakar, is the answer correct? Meanwhile, Gauss, you continue with the next question. Priyanka, what's the answer for the question number 11? Priyanka, you there in the class?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, is it cross pollination? The pollen grain from the anther is going to the stigma of the same flower. No? It's not going to the stigma of the different flower or of a different flower of different plant. So it's basically the case of
Yes, sir.
self-pollination.
So for question 12, is it grass?
Question 12, you're saying grass.
Is it grass?
Okay, what about others?
Because even if grass gets cut after rain,
Mhm.
it can still grow out because they are running.
Yeah, it might have been like earlier. Like, if you were to read the question, let's read the question first. One morning, as Pahili strolled in her garden, she noticed many small plants which were not there a week ago. A week ago, it was not there. She wondered where they had came from a no, where they had came from, as nobody had planted them there. Explain the reason for the growth of these plants. I think most appropriately the answer for this could be now, like the seeds of those plants could have been brought into the garden by the action of the wind or by the action by some birds. It might have brought there. Getting it now? Like wind
Yes.
might have carried that seed into her garden, or some insects might have brought that. Okay, no. So the more appropriate answer, I think it could have been the seeds of that plant could have been brought by the action of the wind or by the action of the some insect or the birds. Okay.
Sir, but
Question.
is grass also correct?
Grass, I think we can take this as correct. Also, in the question, it is being mentioned that there was no plant there a week ago. Okay, there was no plant a week ago. So yeah, we can say in some way that grass could also be there because even if you were to cut the grass and some portion of the roots of the grass are left, new grass will emerge out of it. So yeah, we can include that also, but we also should include in this that it could have been brought by the action of the wind or by action of the insects or the birds. Okay.
Okay.
Question number 13.
Sir, pollen grain A, pollen tube B, ovary C. No, I think fertilization C.
You have to tell me about the name of the structure that is formed, not the process.
Sir, just label the Parts, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Priyanka, what
first,
about you? Uh-huh. Continue.
so first one, pollen grain.
That is correct. Very good.
Second one, pollen tube.
Well done. Pollen tube.
So third one, I'm
Let
not
me
sure. I
okay.
think it's fertilization.
Let me zoom it out. What is happening here? See, the nucleus has merged here. Like if you guys can see this image here now. See here what is happening here. What is happening here? The ovule. I mean to say this is sperm here that is contained in the pollen grain. It is going here inside this. Okay. So this one, if you guys can look over here, this is the sperm here. This is the pollen grain that is coming into this. What is the? This is the pollen grain. Inside this, what you are seeing here, this is the nucleus of the sperm here, and the other one is the nucleus of the other one is the egg here. This whole structure. So the nucleus of the sperm is fusing with the nucleus of the egg, and thereby a new cell is being formed here. And this cell that is being formed here, that we know by the name of zygote. We call this as zygote. Okay, now. In fact, we have learned about this previously also, if you guys can recall earlier.
Yes, sir.
What happened here? When the fertilization has happened, so after the process of fertilization, zygote was formed. After zygote, embryo was formed, and so on. Like this, it continued. Here you guys can see the formation of zygote is taking place after the ovum and the pollen grain that is containing the sperm meets together. Pollen grain contains the sperm and the ovum is here inside the ovary. Both of them, when they will be meeting, a new cell is formed that is called as zygote. Question number 14. So question is saying that when you keep food items like bread or the fruit outside for a long time, especially during the rainy season, so you will observe a cottony growth on them. So what is that growth on it called as? What is it? See, for example, there's a bread. You were to leave it in open after some time. After some time, this brown or red or green patches will develop on it. What do we call that? Yes, Gauss, Priyanka, Abubakar. Haven't we learned about this in the class? Yes, Priyanka?
Yes, sir.
What's the problem in answering this, guys? See, let me get you back to the slide once again. While we were learning about this now, I had given you one example of this. This is the structure of a fungus now. What is this? This is a fungus. And the fungus, where does it grows? It will be growing on the dead and decaying organic matter. If there's a vegetable or a fruit or the bread that is left in the open and that is left in the open and is a example, there's a expired food item. So eventually on that, what happens? This fungus starts to grow. This fungus will start to grow and it appears as bread mold. It appears as a bread mold. You guys might have observed this commonly, like if you were to purchase a packet of bread from the market, and let's say if it is expired and you were to leave it in the open, so you will observe that bread mold will be growing on it. This bread mold will be growing on it. You guys might have observed this common thing, right? You would have seen this. So this is the bread mold and it is caused by a fungus. Getting all of you know? That is the bread mold and it is being caused by the fungus. Upon close study, when we study the structure of this now, So this is kind of it is being shown in this image. 1 minute. When you will be studying about its structure, so its structure looks like this. Its structure looks like this. It on top it has a bulb-like structure called as sporangium, and there's this thread-like structure called as hypha. This thread-like structure we are calling this as hypha. So that is the structure of this, and this thing is called as bread mold. And bread mold is nothing but a type of fungus. In fact, the mushroom that we consume, the edible mushroom, that is also a fungus, and this one is also a fungus. Is that clear to everyone what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Priyanka and Abu Bakar, you also got it. So what is this growth called as?
Bread mold.
Bread mold, okay. Now, how does the growth take place? The growth will take place, first of all, again getting back to this diagram here, the structure that we are seeing here now, actually the growth will be taking place due to the spores here. When you look at this diagram here, this is also of a fungus now. It has a similar structure to this one also, in which the spores will be coming out of the sporangium. Spores comes out of the sporangium, and when the spore will be landing on a favorable condition, favorable thing for it, like for example, this is a dead organic matter. This is a this will be serving as a nutritious medium for the fungus, for the spores to grow now. So suppose the spores will be landing on it. The spores lands on it, and now it starts to obtain nutrition from it, and that's how it will start to grow. So the growth of the fungus will take place by the help of the spores. So as soon as the spores will land on this now, as soon as these spores will land on it, now these spores will start to germinate. Just like the seed starts to germinate now, this will also start to germinate, and hypha will start to emerge out of it. This thread-like structure that will start to emerge from this tiny spore. Once it was like this, after it has landed on the bread, or it could be it can grow on the fruit, or it can grow on any type of food the fungus can grow. So if the spore has fallen on it, now the spore will start to germinate. Once it will start to germinate, the hypha will start to come out of it, then sporangium will develop. So this is the way how it grows. So it will be growing by the germination of the spores. So they grow by germination of spores. Continue with the question number 15. Priyanka, read question number 15.
So,
Yes.
while I'm reading, if you heard background noise, can you say?
No issue. Continue.
Okay, sir. Group the seeds given in figure 12.3. 1, 2, 3. According to their means of
Dispersion.
sir, I can't see. Okay, sir. A seed depress. Sorry, sir.
Seed dispersal by wind.
Seed dispersed by wind. Seed dispersed by water. Seed dispersed by animal.
Yes. So looking at the first option, so which seed will be dispersed by the action of the wind?
Sir,
By the way, the first one you are seeing, okay? This is the maple leaf, by the way, okay? Maple leaf. Yes, first one will be dispersed by the wind. What about the second one? Second one will be also dispersed by the wind, because that is also very lightweight here. Getting it, guys? The second one, that too will be dispersed by the wind. So first and two, both of them will be dispersed by the wind. And seed dispersed by the water. Is there any seed that will be dispersed by the water? There is no such seed as per the per the images which we have. The seed that will be dispersed by the water. Can you guys tell me which seed apart from the ones that has been given here, is there a seed that will be dispersed by the action of water?
Sir, coconut.
Exactly. That is coconut. Well done. Now, seed dispersed by the animal.
Sir, third one.
Third one. Can you guys tell me the name of this? Yeah. Recall the name of this. I can give a hint. It starts with X.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait.
Okay. Okay. Take your time. You might have seen it. Like it is a kind of a wild plant. It grows in the wild on the wild plant it grows, and it is spiny. It is stuck onto the body of the animal. That is xanthium. Okay. So that is xanthium. So it will be dispersed by the help of the animals. It will basically stick onto the fur of the body of the animals, and the animal will be helping it dispersing this kind of seed. Okay. Question number 16.
Uh, Sir, coconut is dispersed by water because it is a large and heavy fruit.
Hmm.
If like if too many coconut trees grow on the same island, there will be a lot of competition for getting water and minerals
Hmm.
from the soil, and
Hmm.
the leaves will and the leaves and branches will cover other coconut trees also.
Hmm.
So extra coconut seeds are dispersed, are thrown down, and they are dispersed by water to other islands.
Okay, the explanation is correct, but there's an important thing here. If you were to look at the question, it is saying how is it adapted for dispersal by water? Meaning that if a seed, for example, if you were to take seed of, for example, wheat, take the wheat seeds, and if you were to pour it in water, after some time the seed will start to rot and it will be wasted, right? But how this coconut tree is not getting rotted in the water? How is it not being spoiled by the water? That's the question. The question is how is it adapted for dispersal by the water? Like the example of the island, as you have mentioned here, if the seeds are going to go from one island to another, it will take some time. It will can take weeks to months, right now, to go from one place to another by the action of water. It can take several weeks, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So how in this duration of time, how will it not be rotting in the water? Priyanka and Abu Bakar, you guys also answer this question. Think about this. Like when we look at the structure of the coconut, it has a thick fibrous coat around its body. First of all, if I were to cut it from the middle, like say for example, I have cut a coconut from the middle into half. So first you are going to look at the thick fibrous coat on this now, this thick fibrous coat, right? So it has a thick fibrous coat, thick fibrous coat. Plus, it floats on the water. It does not sink on the water. It floats on the water. So this has a thick fibrous coat, and because of this, the coconut will be swimming on the water. It will be floating on the water. It does not sink in the water. So this is the adaptation in the coconut because of which it is dispersed by the water, and it is not being not spoiled and not does not rot in the water. Hope it is clear. So the thick fibrous coat enables it to float in the water, and that is how it is dispersed by water. Question number 17. Ross, read the question.
In the figure of a flower given in figure 12.4, label the parts whose functions are given below and give their names. A. The part which contains pollen grains. B. The part where the female gamete is formed. C. The female reproductive part where the pollen grains germinate. D. The colorful part of the flower which attracts insects.
Okay, I'm going to appoint the questions. Question number A was you will be answering. Question number B, Abu Bakr, and question number C, Priyanka. And the D1 anyone can answer.
The part which contain pollen grains. Sir, sir, stigma.
The part which contains pollen grains. You are saying stigma.
No, sir, no, sir. Ovary.
Ovary contains pollen grain. Be careful in this was. We have learned about the different parts of the flower. This central structure in the flower that forms the female reproductive system. Huh? What is the female reproductive part of the flower called as, Priyanka? Yes.
You.
No, I'm not talking about that.
Right.
No, still it's wrong. I'm asking about the female reproductive part. Together, all of this is called as the pistil now. Remember,
Yes.
Pistil. Okay. Question number A is the part which contains the pollen grain. So pollen grain is obviously not found in this structure. It is found in the male reproductive part now. And specifically where in the male reproductive part? So you will find that there is this another filament like a structure, and on top of it, it has this anther, right? An anther contains pollen grain now. So pollen grains are found inside the anther. Take a look at this image here. Take a look at this here. So here you will find that the thread-like filaments that you are seeing on top of it, it is swollen, and that contains the anther, and inside the anther, pollen grains are found. In fact, you guys can look at this in this also. This swollen structure that contains pollen grain, which is transferred from that to the another flower here. So the answer to the A option is
Pistil.
no. Anther no. See, the question is saying that the part which contains pollen grain, in which part is this found? It is found inside the anther. Pistil is the name given to the female reproductive part of the flower, and it is made by stigma, style, and the ovary. These three structures forms the female reproductive system. Gauss, you getting it or like getting confused in this?
Sir, I got it.
Got it. Okay. Next, Abu Bakr, the part where the female gamete is formed. The female gamete here is being referred to ovum. It is being referred to ovum. So where is the ovum formed? Okay, Priyanka, you answer for the question number C, the female reproductive part where pollen grains germinate. I suppose I'm audible to everyone in the class.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Priyanka, answer it quickly.
Sir,
Mhm. The female reproductive
Sir,
part. Yeah.
sir,
Mhm. Yes, Abu Bakr, repeat again.
for the B answer, it is pistil.
No. It's asking about the part where the female gamete is formed. Specifically, yeah, it is in the pistil, it is correct. But in the pistil, where? Is it in the stigma, style, ovary? Where?
sir, stigma.
Your answer for the question number C, yeah, that is stigma. Very good. On the stigma, the pollen grains will be germinating. That is correct. Well done. And as for your question, Abu Bakr, there are three main parts of the pistil, namely stigma, style, and the ovary. These are the three parts. In these three parts, where is the female gamete present? Basically, talking about the ovum. It is in the. If anyone else knows the answer, they can also answer this. Yes. See, the female gamete, that is ovum, it is present inside the ovary. It is produced by the ovary. For those of you who are still getting confused in this, please get back to this diagram here. Here you are seeing that pollination after pollination has taken place. The tube is going here, the pollen tube is going here, and it will be going all the way inside the ovary. And inside the ovary, what is going to happen? Take a look at this diagram then. Inside the ovary, you have the ovum. You have the ovum, or basically the egg. Ovum is also called as the egg, basically. So egg is being produced inside this structure ovary, no? It is present inside the ovary. Getting it, guys? It is present inside the ovary. The female
Yes,
gamete
sir.
ovum, it is is it the petal or is it the sepal? This green part is called as the sepal, or this one is the petal. Which one of it is correct here?
So can you repeat the question? It was
The colorful part of flower which attracts insects. Is it the petal or is it the sepal?
said petal.
Obviously, it is petal. Very good. We have few more questions here. You guys answer it. So the male and female gametes, they will be fusing to form.
Sir, is it zygote?
It is zygote. Well done. Next, during the process of
Sir, sexual reproduction.
no, that process in particular, what do we call this?
Fertilization.
That is fertilization. Good. Third option. Third question. Zygote, once it has developed, the zygote will later develop into. Take a look at this. The zygote later has developed into the embryo. No? It later
Yes.
develops into the embryo. Once the fertilization would have taken place here, first the zygote will be formed. This zygote will later develop into embryo.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So option number C is embryo. Continue further.
After.
What does the ovule develop into and what does the ovary develop into after fertilization?
Sir,
Hmm.
so for the ovule, is it the thick, fleshy, edible part?
No, it's actually the opposite. Actually, Priyanka, what do you think?
Sir, I don't know.
You see, inside this, see that this is a ovule. This is ovule, and this whole structure, that is ovary. After the fertilization would have taken place here, after fertilization takes place here, so after fertilization, the ovule will be turning into the seed. What happens? The ovule will be turning into the seed, and the ovary, it turns into the fruit, basically the fleshy edible part, that basically is the ovary. So ovule turns, it develops into the seed. While for question number E, the ovary develops into the thick fleshy edible part, or we generally are calling this as fruit. Although the seed is enclosed inside the fruit, but in general sense we say that the ovary develops into the fruit. But more specifically, we should be saying that it develops into the thick, fleshy, edible part of the fruit. But nonetheless, as per the NCERT, we are calling this generally as fruit. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Question number 19. Yeah, you have to label the missing parts here and you have to draw it yourself. You can complete it in your copy, in your rough sheet of paper, you can complete, or as of now, just let me what is missing in this diagram. And you have to identify the given diagrams and you have to tell me the missing parts in this also. Abu
Sir,
Bakr, a very important part is missing in this flower. Yes, Gauss, continue.
sir, the pistil.
Exactly. The female reproductive part is missing here, right? So we can draw this here. What is option number A? What is it?
Sir, is it pointing to the line or the petal or something?
It is pointing to this structure here, this leaf-like structure.
Uh, so that is petal.
That is petal. Good.
Sir, C1, that is a filament.
That is the filament. Good.
Sir, B, that is sepals.
And that is sepal. Well done. And now specifically, Abu Bakr, you will be telling me what is this part, if I were to call it as part D, and what is this part, Priyanka, you will be telling me specifically part number E, and what is this part being called as? Was you will be answering the last one.
Sir, the E.
Yeah, the E one. This is structure you have to mention.
So, should I say now?
Yeah, you have to say it now.
So stigma.
No. Abu Bakr, what about you? Answer the D1. Actually, the top swollen structure that you're seeing, that is actually a stigma. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And the E1 is the, then answer this one. Just anyone who
So
knows
style.
what that is style. Very good. And for the F1,
Sir, anther.
that is anther. What does the anther contain?
Pollen grains.
Anther contains pollen grain. So the anther, 1 minute. The anther, it contains the pollen grain inside it. So these are the pollen grains inside it. Okay. Now the pollen grains, what do they contain? If I were to specifically talk about the pollen grain, so inside the pollen grain, what do we have? Do we have the male gamete or the female gamete?
Male gamete or
They
sperm.
exactly. So they contain the male gamete, which is basically nothing but the sperm cells. They are the sperm. Okay. Now, if you were to talk about the ovary here, when we talk about the ovary, like this structure here, now inside the ovary, as we had seen the diagrams, so you guys answer to me. The diagram might not be very accurate, but it will give you the general idea of what I'm trying to draw. So this structure that you are seeing here, this structure, what is it? Is it ovule or ovary?
Ovule.
That is, Priyanka, what about you? And Abu Bakr?
Yes, sir.
No, answer answer it now, whether it is ovule or not. It is ovule. After fertilization will take place, this ovule will convert into?
Sir, seed.
Is it correct? Yeah, Abu Bakr, is it correct? It is indeed correct. It converts into the seed. Now further you guys tell me this ovary it makes it produces the male gamete cell or the female gamete cell?
Female gamete.
Female gamete cell. So the female gamete cell which I am talking about, it is basically what? What is it? It is sperm or ovum?
Ovum.
Ovum, no? And generally, there's one more term we use for ovum. We commonly call this as egg also. Okay. So basically, in the process of fertilization, what is happening now? This sperm is actually fusing with the ovum. The sperm is the fusing with the ovum, and after fusion of the sperm and the ovum, is the embryo formed or the zygote is formed?
So the zygote.
The zygote is first of all formed. So sperm will be fusing with the ovum to prepare zygote, and zygote will further develop into
Embryo.
Exactly. So that is the sequence of the process that happens here. Okay. Hope it is clear to everyone. If anyone has any doubt in any particular terminology, please let me know. Then continuing with question number 20. Write how the falling seeds are dispersed. Seeds with the wings, with the wings.
Sir,
So
wind.
by wind.
Very good. So they are dispersed by the wind. Actually, the wings of the seeds will be helping them to float in the air. Can you give an example of a seed which has wings?
Sir, maple leaf.
Maple leaf seeds. Very good. Small and light seeds.
Sir, by birds. Hummingbird.
Yes, humming.
Okay, small and light seeds, yeah. But they are dispersed by the wind also if they are small and they are light seeds. So they will be easily carried away by the wind, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that too will be an answer to this. Seeds with the spines or the hook.
Sir, they'll get attached to the fur of the animals and they'll and they'll disperse it elsewhere.
Yeah, or they can get attached to the cloth of human beings also as well. Can you give an example? Can you guys give an example of this?
Sir, starts
Moments
with X.
ago,
X
it
again.
starts with X. Yeah, moments ago we talked about this. Priyanka and Abu Bakr, you guys also answer this.
Yes, sir.
That is xanthium. Okay, na? Remember the name. That is xanthium. Okay, so you guys will remember this. Xanthium. That is one thing. Okay. So here we have completed the questions from this chapter. If you guys have a doubt in any particular topic, please let me know. Or else we can do some other thing or take up your doubts. You guys have any doubts from this chapter, please let me know. Yes?
No, sir.
Boss, you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Then we will be concluding the class with few questions, okay? Because we don't have sufficient time to begin with a new chapter today. So the chapters which we have done in the past, from that I will be asking some questions. Before reproduction in plants, but meanwhile, just let me give you an overview of the chapters which we have done so far in the batch. And also the chapters for which some of you would be requiring in the extra class. Like Gauss, you haven't studied all the chapters from me in the batch. Also tell me, Gauss, in your school, when you will be giving your final exams, so in your final exams, there will be syllabus from the complete syllabus or just the 50% of the syllabus is taken into account, will be part of the syllabus. Any idea?
So I think one or two chapters will be taken from the first term, and then all the other chapters from the second term will be there.
Okay, that's the case. Okay, when you get to know about that now, please update me on that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
As of now, I have one question for all of you from the previous chapter. We had recently completed this. Right now, today we completed the chapter reproduction, and we had recently completed motion and time. From the chapter motion and time, I'm going to draw two distance time graph here. Tell me which one of them represents uniform motion, uniform speed.
So the first one.
Others also have to answer this.
Yes, sir, the first one.
Okay. Now, in this case, you guys tell me, is the
Sir,
body moving?
it's in rest.
It is at rest position. Very good.
Rest.
Okay. Now, in this diagram, tell me, there are three different speeds. Speed 1, speed 2, and speed 3. Which one of them is maximum?
So speed 1.
Speed 1. Others?
Sir, I
Abu
don't
Bakr.
understand that.
This is the diagram of the speed of the speed time. Okay, no?
Okay, sir.
I mean to say time and distance actually. This is a distance time graph here, which is giving us a speed. And the graph, the slope of the speed is different here. We have learned the more the steeper is the slope, more will be the speed of the given object here. The graph, the slope is steeper here, no? It is more steeper. Thereby the speed of this vehicle is more. In fact, you can understand it with one such example also. Let us say that one, 2, 3, and 4. This is the time in, let's say, hour. And let us say that this is the speed in the kilometer. Okay. Now let us plot the graph here. So we have plot a graph here. Okay. Now let us take another vehicle at the same time. Let us take another vehicle. Now we are going to divide the time axis now into further we are going to divide it like this: 0.5 hours, then 1 hour, 1.5, 2.5, like this we have divided, and we have divided this also like this. Now you guys pay attention to what I'm going to do here. I'm going to join these graphs now.